Dr. Mike.
And I'm Julia.
And this is NFGeeks. All right, Julia, thanks again for coming back
Thanks for
to do
having
another
me
video.
again, Mike.
Yeah, of course. So this episode, I didn't talk about this value. We're talking about NFs because I knew you were into this stuff. I saved it for now. And that is, I wanted to talk about NF mysticism with you.
Okay.
Because you have all sorts of stuff going on in your world on this issue.
Yes.
And I'd like you to talk about that.
Okay.
So, our kids... What does the word mysticism mean to you? First of all, we'll start with that, just off the top of your head.
It doesn't mean much to me. I mean, I know what it's supposed... I don't know. This reminds me, actually, of some of the conversations you had with Maria about the concept of New Age.
Oh, yes.
And how she didn't connect with those words.
No, that's right.
Mysticism is kind of an annoying word to me because it brings to mind, fakes, like with the woo and the crystal ball and the and all the bells and whistles and none of the real stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if we're gonna talk about mysticism or the occult or I think NFs are uniquely drawn to a certain kind of spirituality in general. But like when I think about like Wicca or any of these sort of earth worshiping like veins of spirituality, I think is very NF.
Mm-hmm.
To worship the wind, to worship fire, to worship the earth. And I think also NFs have an incredible ability to connect with people and to intuit, and that all definitely comes into mysticism
mm-hmm.
as well. I mean, I think that we're the most likely to seem almost psychic at times, or because we got the N,
mm-hmm.
we can make all those connections really fast, like the N makes those connections really fast, and then it's people-oriented, so then, we can make those, you can read the person in front of you, make those connections really fast, and that person might go, oh my God, you're psychic, but really, you're just using your NF powers. And I think, but then also I think there are people who have even more of a talent in
mm-hmm.
that vein, but I think every NF probably has it in somewhat just because of that.
Oh, sure. I agree. I've seen that in every NF as well. When did you sort of get started in this? Like how old were you and what brought you there?
So I think I was about 20. Yeah. And I got these cards as a Christmas gift.
And show them what are these cards? You may
these
not
are
be able to tell.
tarot cards.
Yes.
So this is an unusual deck. It's the something Greer deck.
It certainly is. I've never seen these pictures.
It's beautiful.
If could you show them a little bit? Is it okay? We're not going to screw it up, right? We can show a few.
No, absolutely. Screw it up. No.
Well, I don't want to ruin it for somebody.
Like here's like they're incredibly artistic.
Yeah. I've never seen this set before. It's very interesting.
Here's the tower. Everyone's afraid.
Oh, the tower. Yeah, I hate the tower.
And that tower is very scary.
Particularly scary.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It doesn't have the. Oh, it does. One of the interpretations I saw, this is very interesting, is that, if you look at it carefully, the Rider Waite, it's a little clearer.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at it carefully, you see people falling.
Yep.
Okay, so that's really bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But some people interpret when it's upside down, it's still destruction, but you're escaping. And what they pointed out is that it looks like the people are jumping, but jumping like they do in the movies.
Yeah.
Like from something exploding. They're just getting away and the
Yeah.
explosion's behind them.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's the actual interpretation. But I like that interpretation because it looks like that on the Rider Waite. It looks like they're like leaping from it, Do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, actually, I have a thought about what you just said about the actual interpretation. So I've been, doing this and studying this and reading books out and books and books and like internet sites and for like 13, 14 years. And, I used to be really like, I would be very nervous reading for people and I'd have a book with me and I'd be looking up the meanings and I'm like, I don't know. And, being very like, cautious and what does this mean in this place? But now after years and, all these years of study, I finally read a book that was like, okay, all this stuff, the basic card meanings, the story behind it, the meaning of the different suits, swords, cups, coins, and rods. You have all of this. The basics. It's time to let go, and really let your intuition out to play, and trust yourself that your interpretation is enough. And this rings true because if you pick up any tarot book and look at that particular reader's definition, it is never the same as any other tarot book.
True, that's true. I've seen that.
Every strong tarot reader is going to eventually come up with their own feeling about that card, and that's valid.
Yeah, I actually got a book once from a book sale, like at a church or something, with boxes. And
I've gotten many that way.
Yes.
Many tarot books.
And it was $1. It was a tarot card book by a British reader from like 30 or 40 years ago. It was really old, like all ratty.
It's cool.
Old, and the descriptions, and here's what I liked about it. It wasn't like encyclopedic. It was very, very first person. So every time you look to a card page and it would say me, when I, be first person. When I get this card, I have found. It was very personal. And I have to say, some of the interpretations that she said were pretty right, pretty dead on, even though they'd be different from other books and other things. It was, you could tell that there was somebody having a personal relationship with the deck, with this whole thing. So do you read? So you read people. Yeah. And you do this. You did it for me, actually.
I did it for Mike.
I remember. How do you feel about your track record doing it, in terms of it being right, wrong, close?
Really good.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't really know why, but I read for myself for years. I read for other people in college, but it was, just when I just started with it and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I found it to be very draining and people had all kinds of expectations and I was just like, leave me alone. Now I'm so much more of a confident reader. Like people can hit me with almost anything and I'll just be like, well, look, this is what I'm seeing. This is what it is. If that's not feeling right to you, then that's important too. But this is my deal, But wait, what was the original question? Sorry.
Your success with it, that kind of thing.
So, for example, then I got a little bit more confident and started reading for friends, which is a good bridge because you know somewhat about them, but you don't necessarily know their inner world. Right. But you do have some information. So I read for a friend maybe about 6 years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and she recently emailed me and she was like, she actually she really got enthusiastic. She was ENFP actually. She got really enthusiastic about tarot after I read for her and is now actually starting her own tarot and mysticism business. But she was like, your reading came true. Wow. And I used to read when I was a social worker. I used to read for people at work. And it was always true. And I don't really know. I mean, I think it's partly my intuition, but there are some other things like where I deal the cards and they really do tell a story, and then the person's like, and I'm like, I don't even know what's going on here. Can you tell me? And they'll be like, oh yeah, and then they'll, like, I had this one woman she had a neighbor who was somehow getting into her house and like wreaking rat. Like she was a real problem. Like the neighbor actually it was a little scary. It cut some of her hair.
Oh God, that's scary.
Yeah.
Oh my
and
God,
I didn't know any of this.
That's really scary.
I knew there was something
Yikes.
going on, and I got this. Like when I read her cards, like I basically saw that, and I was like, wow, there's somebody really wreaking havoc in your life, like. And doing all kinds of devious stuff, and she was just like nodding, and I was like, yeah, this sounds awful, like what's going on, and she told me this whole story, which I didn't know, and I was like, oh my God, that's my experience.
Okay.
Is like I'll say what I see, and then in most cases, and then the person will finally break down at the end and be like, oh. Yeah, what you're saying is like totally right. Totally. Although I had a wonderful experience at that same event that I read your cards at, where I read the woman's cards, and it was really like everything was great with her in a way, and her reading basically was just like all about how much her son loves her so much, and it was the most beautiful. I've never actually had a reading like that where he was almost coming through the cards, and I actually got a little teary.
Oh, wow.
Because I was like, this is like the sweetest thing I've ever seen.
Oh,
wow. It's like,
That's
he
great.
loves you so much. And I just told her, I was like, everything, I mean, there's things and work and stuff, but everything that's going to matter to you on your deathbed, you already have.
Oh, wow.
So that was powerful.
Yeah, that's fantastic. All right, we'll get back to the cards in a minute. You got a bunch of trinkets here, some talismans, some special stuff, some NF stuff. Why don't you show us? What do you got here? What do you got to show us, and why do you want to show us?
So I don't know. This is just my stuff. This is my mysticism stuff.
Yes.
I use these when I read. So this is the god and the goddess.
Okay.
So this is the female and male energy.
Okay.
That I bring to my readings, and so if I do, especially at home, I usually use them. I have this small mirror.
Oh wow! Look at this. What's this for?
So this is basically, I use this especially if I'm doing a reading for myself, and I'll look at myself in the mirror.
Oh wow!
To focus my energy on myself, or if I'm reading about somebody else, I'll point it away from me and imagine them looking at themselves in the mirror, and it like focuses, especially with a Celtic cross, where that middle card is that the person's, I use it to focus the energy on whatever the subject is. And then these are just crystals to absorb energy and keep things positive. This is common Wiccan symbol.
Right.
It's a powerful symbol, and I just really use that to bring power. And also, I have this. This is a huge admission to make.
Okay.
I have a funny thing where I feel my hands vibrating sometimes, and I don't know what that's about. I've been ignoring it for years, and recently I just started to sort of be like, okay, yeah, this is a thing. But I'll sometimes charge this.
Okay, no, I understand what you're saying. I've heard that before. I get what you're saying. I'm sure a lot of other NFs understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and I don't really do spells. I really have an issue with the spells. I'm not a spell person.
Okay. Yeah, neither am I.
When I think about doing a spell, I just think, I'm always like, well, that sounds cool.
Why is it? You just not your thing, or?
To me, it feels like manipulating the world in a way that's maybe not good for me and not good for the world.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know. I do think I also think one person can't really have as much influence in that way as not to go down the coven road, but as a group of people, chanting or, thinking that it's like this, remember the thing with all the NFs, like NF fusion, like
Oh yeah,
NFP.
the N nexus,
Yes.
the Nexus F.
That's
Yes,
part of the way
the
that I think. So
Nexus
I'm
F.
like, if you're
I had
gonna
to think,
do
remember my own word.
spells, and I don't even really believe. I don't know how. It's not that I don't believe it. It's not. It's not like I don't believe it's possible. I think a bunch of people or one person putting enough power out into the world can do certain things, but I think it can also affect you personally.
Mm-hmm.
But if I were doing a spell or if I'm doing a reading that's really important to me, as part of the ritual, I'll usually light candles and I'll wear this.
Oh, and what is that?
It's just something that I've I don't even know what it means. It's something that I've just had ever since I really started to get into this stuff, and it just sort of become my own personal symbol, and sometimes I wear it for protection, and it's just it's like I think of it almost as like a priest putting on their robes, it's like this, it's like I'm serious.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm wearing this, I'm serious.
Yes, absolutely. All right, what I'd like to do is if you could do a reading,
Sure.
Can you do like a 3-card reading or
Sure,
something?
we can
Like
do
a
something
short one?
simple.
Because we don't have a lot of space here and we only got like 5 minutes. But,
Okay.
But so what do we
Are we doing it for you?
Oh,
What
of
are
course
we
we're
doing
doing it for me. For me.
Oh, for Mike.
Yeah,
Okay,
of course.
We're gonna do it for Mike. So Mike, shuffle the cards.
Okay, and if I remember correctly, you got to do it this
Yes.
way, right? Okay, got to do it. In other words, just shuffling them, like this.
Yeah, no doing this because it bends them.
Okay.
My cards are actually
They're very thick.
They've really stood the test of time.
Yeah, it's hard to even do it.
13
There
or
we go.
14
All
years
right.
old.
I'm going to do it 5
I
times.
only read with these cards. And no one else is allowed to read with my cards either.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah. But, see, no one else has this. Mike, you are alone in this problem with the shuffling.
Really?
It's like you're trying to force something in.
Well, I don't know
let
why.
Loosen them up, man.
Well, I don't know how to do it. I'm used to doing it the other way, like playing cards.
Yeah.
That's the way I do it.
That's where playing cards came from, is the tarot.
Yes.
And there are people who do tarot with playing cards. But these are
Really?
these are so much prettier. Why would I
Oh
do
my
that?
God, this is the prettiest of them all.
Plus, there's no major arcana in,
That's right.
Have
you ever done this? Have you ever done a reading to find that one card had fallen and you didn't have a full deck?
Yes.
Does that have any meaning to you?
In the moment, sometimes I feel like it was meant to be, and that's fine. Sometimes I'll be like, that makes this whole thing null and void. I'm starting again.
Oh.
But reading for yourself, that's a whole other...
Yeah. Okay, what do I do?
Okay, so now...
I want to put my left hand on it, right?
So give them to me, and now cut the deck.
Okay, just once?
Yeah, whatever feels right.
Okay, I'm just gonna
I don't do right or wrong.
Okay, I'm just going to do it once this time. Okay.
All right, and we'll just do a 3-card reading.
Okay.
So he...
Okay, yep, Temperance, that's card number 1.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we have the Knight of Pentacles.
That's number 2. And number 3 is... the Ace of Pentacles, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what do we got?
So, I usually think of Temperance as...
well, first of all, does that mean past, present, anything? The place.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go with past, present, future here, but with a 3-card reading, I kind of think of it as like recent past. This is kind of like, I don't know.
Well, we got only a few minutes, so hit it.
I'm hitting it.
Yeah.
So
get right to it.
So we have Temperance here, and I always think of Temperance as balance. So it's striving for balance, Knight of Pentacles, and then we have the Ace of Pentacles. So it's almost seems like there's a charge towards something new here, because aces are always like the seed of something new. So, I mean, my sort of, I've never done this on camera, so I'm a little bit like,
it's okay.
But I guess my feeling about this is that there's a call for a very powerful call for balance. By the way, Mike got temperance last time too.
That's right, I did.
Balance, big for Mike.
Yep.
And Knight of Pentacles. Knights are younger, and they tend to be impetuous. Knight of Swords being the most impetuous.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, because there's a Knight of Pentacles and then an Ace of Pentacles, it almost seems like in the present, a charge is being led in your life towards something new having to do with job or money. And then that new thing is going to start coming into fruition. But balance being the basis of all of that.
So having balance leads to a charge that leads to money. Mm-hmm. Not money, but
money. Well, the start of
something that you get some sort of material wealth, good stuff.
Yeah, but you're creating it. You are the catalyst. You make yourself the catalyst by finding that balance.
All right. Well, that's perfect. Just in time. All right.
Perfect.
That's right. So thank you, Julie. I appreciate that reading. I hope it comes true. It's
Me
a nice
too.
one. Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.